Hey everybody, hope you're doing well today. Purpose of this video is to really be a little helper guide for some of the tools and utilities that we're going to be using in class this semester. The intention is for it to be something you can kind of refer back to, and I'll try to put bookmarks in for timestamps as well, to kind of help you out. Because basically, we're going to be using these a lot in class, or at least, I guess, let me rephrase, I will be using them a lot in class. And you might be trying to replicate what I'm doing and getting frustrated. As a spoiler, I've been using Linux for quite a while now, so I'm very comfortable with the terminal and with the commands and all of that fun stuff. There's still a lot that I don't know. I'm not claiming to be an expert by any means, but I am comfortable with it, and I know not everybody is. So kind of the purpose of this is to show you how I use some of these tools and kind of help you if you get stuck. Now, this video is going to apply to pretty much any of my classes that use Google Cloud, so you're going to see this in various playlists possibly. But really the goal here is to go through tmux, we're going to go through Vim and Nano, and we're also going to cover uploading and downloading files from Google Cloud and kind of moving things around. So that's kind of the goal here. Now, what you see in front of you is going to be my little tester. So I've got a LAMP stack up and running for my Google Cloud instance. This IP is probably going to be dead by the time you see this video, which is fine. We turn our VMs off when we're done with them anyway, right? But the goal for me in this video is that I want to upload a website to Google Cloud and have it be visible to everybody. And these are going to kind of take you through some of the steps that I would do for that. So I am in Google Cloud. I have gone to my VM instances page. I started up one of my VMs, and I am going to now minimize this while I kind of play around in here because I've got a couple of little windows open. So I've got my SSH window open here. Again, if you don't remember, I just click the little SSH button, that window pops up, and I've got my instance here. Now, I am in my root directory. So you see the little tilde here. That means you are in, if I type pwd/home/your username. Okay, so this is your home directory. Shorthand is tilde. All right. On the right here, I've got a little sample website that I just kind of whipped up really quickly. Basic HTML tag, H1 tag, hello there, random GIF that I've bookmarked from about 10 years ago that I find perennially hilarious, encased in an HTML5 video tag, if you're coming at this from 658. But really my goal is to get this file up onto Google Cloud, okay? And then we'll edit it while it's up there and all that fun stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and first save this. And again, if you are in my 658 class and you're using Windows, when you go to save things, so I'm going to save this as hello.html. If you're using a text editor in Windows, you have to make sure you save it as all files, because otherwise it's going to append .txt, and Windows is going to think this is a text file. And you're going to get frustrated when your page doesn't open up. Okay, but I've got this hello.html on my desktop, and I'm going to save it. Beautiful. So I've got this website here, and we'll check it up on Google Cloud. So I am in my home directory. I'm going to click Upload File. Pretty straightforward. This, I should mention too, depending on when you are watching this, this interface might change. Last year when I ran all my classes, these were buried in the little settings menu. Now they're right here, which is nice. Okay, upload file. Choose files from my computer. That's exactly what I want. Okay, so let's go to my desktop. There's my hello, and I'm gonna upload that. Okay, connection failed. Cool. I love having errors in the middle of a demo. Okay, well, let's try reopening the connection, I guess. That was strange. How are you all doing today? Having a good day? This shouldn't take too long, depending on how finicky Google's feeling. Okay, we are back up. Okay, now, still in my home directory, so let's clear this out. Upload file, upload file, upload file, upload file. We see that it's been transferred, which is good. And now if I type ls, I see that it is in my home directory. Okay, so let me show you one quick thing just because some people get stuck on this. Let me go ahead and remove this file. So rm is the delete command. There is no recycle bin in Linux, so once you run this, it is gone forever for reference. All right, so I'm gonna remove that. Okay, clear, ls, good. So let's go into, I'm just gonna pick a random directory that should be available to me. So let's go to temp. Okay, so I've got a bunch of junk in here. Now I'm gonna try to upload my file again. And again, you don't have to do this. This is more for demonstration purposes. I upload my file, and I now type ls, and I don't see that anywhere in this current directory. Okay, I should have read-write access in temp, so if I do touch new file, touch just creates an empty file in Linux. I do an ls, I see it right there. Okay, temp gets deleted every so often, so I'm just gonna leave that file there. But now, if I go back to my home directory, which is change directory, and then tilde is the shorthand, and I type ls, I see that the file got uploaded to my home directory. So this is a particularity of Google Cloud. It will always upload to your home directory. Now, it's a feature that I've been requesting forever, but they haven't changed it, which is, fine. They can do whatever they want. But it's always going to go to your home directory. So anytime you upload a file, no matter where you are, it's going to go to your home directory. Okay? Keep that in mind. Now, the goal was to move this file into my web directory, right? Because if I were to go to my website here and I type /hello.html, not found because it's not in the web directory. If you are ahead of the game, you might know that var www.html is our web directory. Okay, so we need to move it here. Two particularities with this. Now, by default, the web directory, and again, this is assuming you have Apache installed. If you're just moving files around locally in your home directory, you don't need to do this. But you need super user access because your user account is not part of the Apache group. Getting deeper in the weeds into Linux than I wanted to at that point. But basically, if we need to move a file from our home directory to our web directory, we need to tag on a sudo, which temporarily gives you super user access. I'm going to type the file. So mv is the move command, hello.html. Then I'm going to move that into var www.html. I like to put a dot on the end, not always strictly necessary, but it really forces that this is the directory I want it to go into. Don't want to overwrite the HTML directory. Again, this doesn't happen anymore, but I've had malformed commands where I've accidentally overwritten directory names, and it's been a big headache in the past. So sudo super user access, mv is it's basically the cut and paste command in Linux. The target file, so I want to move this into this. Okay. Now, some of you might have the issue where, let me go ahead and move it back. So sudo mv var www html hello. I'm going to move it back. Okay. So this file is back in my home directory. Let's say that I've been working on my website. So I go into var www html. So cd change directory. I am now in this directory. You can see it in the little blue here right in front of your name. And I do ls, so I see my index. If I do ls tilde, looking in my home directory, I see that file. Okay, so visualize, you don't really have a file explorer in here, right? At least you don't in this SSH browser. Yeah, if you start playing with Cloud Shell, you can actually access it. But in my home directory is this hello file. I'm currently in the web directory, and I want to move that file to where I currently am. Hopefully not too confusing. The command that I used before, sudo mv hello.html, is not going to work because this is expecting hello to be in my current directory. What I need to do is provide Linux a path. Now, I could give it the specific one, /home/Eric, and I hit tab to autocomplete to make my life easier. Tab basically tries to autofill in the rest. So when it's ER and I hit tab, it knows the only other thing in that file or that folder is Eric Fredericks. I could have typed the whole thing out, but it's just a thing for speed. So sudo mv /home/Eric Fredericks, and then hello is in that directory. Okay. For shorthand, because I know that file is in my home directory, I could also say tilde hello, because this is just shorthand for /home/Eric Fredericks again. And because I am in the HTML directory, I can just hit dot. Dot means the current directory. Okay. Again, told you I've been playing with Linux for a while, so a lot of these are familiar to me. I could also say /var/ww/html dot, and it would do the exact same thing. Okay. So now when I ls, I see hello.html where I currently am. And I refresh this page, and do I need to do autoplay? Oh, HTML, I don't ever remember video tag. So, again, even I don't always remember how to do things. So, autoplay, that's what I wanted. There's a little attribute that I can never remember for some reason. Okay, so my GIF didn't play. Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna take a quick timeout. I don't know why I did that. To jot down some notes, and we'll come back in a few minutes with Vim and Nano and tmux, okay? Okay, so sorry, just jotting down some notes to myself so that I give you all the commands that you need for this. I can never remember how the video tag works, so I need to tack on, I need to close this, sorry, because I no longer am working on my local file. We are working on the real file over here. Okay, so I am in my HTML directory, and the thing that I mentioned before was that you need to use super user access anytime you access something in the var www.html directory. Okay, this applies to any folder where you don't have access to it. You need super user access. So always tack on sudo in front of that. This assumes you have admin privileges. Okay, so I'm going to do sudo vim hello. Now Vim is a text editor in Linux. That's the one I prefer to use. I will say the learning curve is horribly steep, but once you get it, you will find yourself using Vim for everything. I have Vim plugins in my Visual Studio Code. I use Vim on Windows. It's an addiction, basically. You can use Emacs if you're of that bent. That's perfectly fine too. I'm going to be using Vim, and I'll show you Nano in a minute as well. But this is the text editor I will be using. Now, I've got a couple of references for you that I'll link. So here's a Vim cheat sheet. It's going to give you all of the commands, how to make things useful, that kind of fun stuff. If you have never used Vim before, I've found a little Vim guide. Now, you can pay for the full version. I've never done that. But this kind of walks you through some of the basics, which is kind of cool. And they very clearly need to work on their tile sizing. I see some overlapping here. Press any key to start. So this is very cute. Click here to reconnect. Okay, so I am going to... Why isn't it showing the sprite? That's weird. Okay, but basically this kind of lets you walk through the various Vim commands in kind of a roguelike style game, which is nifty. But basically, if you want to learn the keystrokes, you could kind of play through this. Now, I thought there's like a really cutesy sprite. I don't know why that's not popping up on my browser here, but I will at least link this in the description if you want to play with that. I also have a cheat sheet for Nano as well, if you prefer. I will say one thing before I get too deep in the weeds here, because this video is going to be probably pretty long, and again, bookmarked and all that fun stuff. They're timestamps. Whatever the little key codes that I can provide in the description for you are. Most of you are probably going to want to use Nano in the text editor or while you are editing on Google Cloud just because it's pretty similar to Notepad. There's no real special keystrokes you need to know. You just kind of open it up and start typing. Vim, you need to hit I to start typing, for instance. But I'm going to go ahead and edit my file. Again, I opened it with super user access. Now I need to say video, autoplay. Okay, so I should probably talk through what I'm doing here. Okay, so I am moving my cursor with the Vi key, so I'm moving left with H, moving right with L, up with K, down with J. Again, just kind of navigating using the keyboard. I'm going to hit the I key to go into edit mode or insert mode, which you see down here. Space, autoplay. Now, I'm still in typing mode. If I want to save it, I need to hit escape to get out of editing mode. I'm going to hit the colon key to go into command mode, and W to save. So colon W is your save. And then I'm going to hit enter to make it happen. Now when I refresh my page, I should see this autoplay. It's not autoplaying. Why are you not autoplaying? Um, I don't know if I cut some of that or not. I went on a little diversion, trying to remember how the video tag works. Basically, I needed to add the controls to get it to actually play. Even though I specified autoplay to be true, it did not do that. But here we have our lovely FIFA broken GIF. Still gives me a chuckle every single time. But this was Vim. This is something that I will be using for all my demos, again, because I'm comfortable with it. Now, I have edited things, I have saved it, now I need to close it, go back to colon, and then I hit Q to quit. I could also just as easily, I am making some changes, colon, WQ, save and quit. All right. Where Vim is powerful, I can do things like highlighting, and I can paste large blocks. Undo is the U key. I hit Shift V to highlight. I hit Y to copy. P to paste. Once you start getting comfortable with the commands, you can like really be efficient with your text editing, which is why I like it. It seems really counterintuitive and really annoying if you listen to somebody talking about Vim and listening to myself try to kind of help you out here. It sounds really complicated. But again, once you get kind of the muscle memory, it's really nice. But you don't necessarily have to use Vim. Okay, this is something that I prefer and what I am using, right? So we now have our page here. Okay, I'm making some changes. So there's the changes. Here's my GIF. Here are my two cheat sheets, right? Let's say that you just want to edit some files, which is fine. Okay, I could just say nano hello.html. Now, Nano is another text editor that is going to, again, be a little bit easier for you. I am intentionally not using sudo, by the way, those of you that are screaming at the video screen. Okay, so here is my file. And now let's say I want to add on, I'm just using the arrow keys to navigate here. I'm already in quote unquote edit mode, so I am making some more changes. Ha 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 ha. Okay, so I made my changes here. This is the Nano editor. You see some commands at the bottom. Now the little caret means hold the control, or probably the command key if you're a Mac user. And then the other key is going to be how to complete that little key cord. All right, so control exit or control X will exit. Control O is write out or save. So when you make changes, you want to save things. You can cut and paste. That's going to do line by line. I don't think you can, I'm not sure if you can do multi-lines in Nano. I very rarely use it. But if you wanted to say, I want to cut this line, I did Control K just by being on that line. Now Control U will paste it, and now I can, sure, let's put it in multiple times. Okay, I now want to save this thing. So I hit Control and O, and it's going to say, what file name do you want to write? Hello.html, and I'm going to hit Enter. And I'm going to, oh, haha. Okay, I made some changes to this directory that I completely forgot about. I gave myself access to the Apache group. Okay, you're not going to see this happen when you try this, so let's go to a different directory where I don't have access. Because now, when I go here, this is going to be just fine. Yep, sorry about that. So in this particular virtual machine, I gave myself admin access to this directory. Basically, I added myself to the user group because we see that I am in the, is it the netdev? Could be the netdev group. But basically, I gave myself access to, oh, you know, it's just, I gave myself access to this group. No, that's my own group. Must be the netdev group. That's weird. But I gave myself super user access. So let me go ahead and let's open up my other VM because I have not done that yet. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Let's stop this VM. Something I did last year for class. So let's start this one up, and I will be back in a second. Okay, so that's up. So we can go ahead and, you know, we'll just copy and paste the file again. So I need my IP address here, and we'll do /hello.html. Not going to be found, which is perfect. We can go through the process all over again. Upload file, choose file, hello. This is the unedited version, by the way, so we're going to have to edit it one more time, which is perfect. So I'm going to go into my var www.html directory, mv tilde hello dot. Okay, good. This is what I was hoping to see. So cannot move from my home directory to the current directory, permission denied. My user does not have access. I can hit up and sudo mv. Now it works just fine. Basically, I overrode the permission there. Now if I were to refresh my web page, there's my GIF. Now I need to edit it. Okay, Nano, hello.html. So you will notice when you open this file, and if you don't have access, you'll see a little red error here. Directory dot is not writable, so I don't have write access. To circumvent this, so let me show you. Sudo nano hello.html. We don't see that anymore. Okay, so I can save this file just fine. All right, so let's go ahead and say, you know, I'm going to close this. We'll do this the wrong way. Wrong way. Nano, hello. Okay, I'm going to make my changes. So I want controls, autoplay. So I'm going to hit Control O to save, and it's going to say, what file name do you want to write? Why did you write that? I am so confused. Okay, something has changed here. Okay. I am talking out of my behind. I am sorry. I own this file. So I did ls-la, and I see that I own this file. I am allowed to edit it. Okay, let's do something where this is actually going to be a problem. And I'm probably going to leave this in just to show me flailing. I'm sorry that this video is already nearly 30 minutes long, but it's kind of all nice to be in one place, right? So nano index. Okay, good. File is unwritable. This is better. Okay, so I'm gonna now edit, let's see, just my basic HTML page here. Okay, so I found hi there, CIS 658 student. Now, oops, don't do that. Wow, that was smart of me. I hit Ctrl+W to search for the instance of hello there, CIS 658 student, and Ctrl+W closes the window. So there's another thing not to do. Okay, let's add that as a note to you all. Don't hit Ctrl+W while in an SSH window! Exclamation mark. Okay, we're back. var www.html. Nano index.html. Okay, I see this file is unwritable. I am not going to do Ctrl+W to search, because I thought I could search for that. And again, Ctrl+W closes your page. So let's look for something to edit. Okay, either 658 student. Again, you might not be in 658. Or any other of my super cool classes. H2. Okay, edited the file. All right, I have this page here. I would expect to see this right under this particular line of code. Control-O to save. Permission denied error. Okay, what can we do? And the reason why I'm really spending some time in showing you this is because I know many, many times in the past, I have had students where they spend hours editing a file up on their Google Cloud server only to get this permission denied error and think, oh crap, I just lost all that time. You can still recover this, okay? So if I hit Control-O, now I could say, my first thought may be, let's add a 2, and save file under different name. Yes. Crap, it still doesn't work. I don't have write access to the current directory I am in. Again, remember, we opened this from var www.html, and we're trying to write a file to a directory that we do not have access to. This is still not something that we can't recover from. One more time, Control-O. I don't want to write index.html. I want to write, so I'm just kind of deleting this out, tilde/, index.html. So what I'm telling Nano is to write it to my home directory slash and call it index. You could call it whatever you want. Save under a different name, yes. Okay, worked just fine. So it's saved. But if I update, again, it's not going to reflect here because we saved it to my home directory. You actually get an update here. This is now the file name, right? So what do? Well, we Control X to exit. Now, if I look in my home directory, again, ls tilde, there's that index.html file. So all I'm really telling you, the too long skipped ahead, I guess, save it in a directory that you have access to. Pretty much going to be your home directory, right? If you already have an index.html in your home directory, call it something else, index.2 or whatever. Now, how do we get it back? Well, we just do our move command, sudo mv slash index, and then we'll move it to our current directory. One caveat with the mv command in Linux, it is not going to ask your permission to replace the file. It's just going to do it. So if I wanted this index.html file that I have here to stay there forever, I should rename it, which again is just the mv command. So I do like sudo mv index.html index.html2. Actually, you know, let me do that. So I'm going to hit Control+C to cancel. Sudo mv index, so this is the current one, to index.html.back. Okay, so now if I see, I do an ls to see what's in here. I renamed my file to b.back. So the mv can also be used for rename. I refresh here. I'm going to get an error because this file no longer exists. By the way, if you are a web dev person, this is something which you should never allow because you don't want anybody to know your folder structure. But sudo mv tilde index.html dot. Now if I refresh again, there is our update. Okay, so summary. I opened a file in Nano that I don't have access to. Okay, not a problem. I saved it to my home directory, and then I moved that file from my home directory to my current directory. Make sense? Good. Glad to hear a resounding chorus of hoorays. Hats thrown in the air. 30-minute mark for my unedited video just hit. Perfect. Okay, so we have Nano, we have Vim, we have uploading. Now we also need to talk about tmux because you will see me using this as well. This is something which you don't necessarily need to run, but it makes your life a whole heck of a lot easier if you do. Now, I am going to go back to my home directory, so cd tilde clear, and I'm going to play around with Rails a little bit, okay? Not something I strictly need to do, but it might be a good little demo here. Doesn't even have to be Rails, honestly. But tmux is a program which allows you to basically create little sub-sessions inside of a single window. So I could really accomplish a similar goal for what I'm going to be showing you here anyway by having my SSH here, clicking another SSH, and now I have two terminals that will be open at the same time. Could be useful if you want your server to be running while you're editing it, or if you want to be doing one thing and then edit a file. Basically, if you need to do multiple things at the same time. You know, maybe I'm doing an update and upgrade or something like that. So if I were to do sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade. So update my package repositories, update all of my local installed applications. Something good to do pretty sporadically anyway, or pretty often, not sporadically. But say, you know, this is gonna maybe take a while. Now it's a new VM, so it probably doesn't. But let's say this is running. I can now do all kinds of stuff over here without interrupting this process. Makes sense. I could also, just as easily, run tmux. Now you see this little green window or this little green line pop up down here. I'm now running in a tmux session. Okay, what does that mean? This is basically a subshell or a sub-terminal really where I could run anything I want in here, detach it, and then it will still keep running. So basically you're running things in the background. A similar program is called Screen. It does very similar things. I just like the bindings and the commands for tmux a little bit more myself. but if you're a screen person and you've used it in the past, that's perfectly fine too. Um, so kind of what I'm getting at here is let me, you know what, just for funsies, do I have Python on here? Python 3? I do. Okay. So let's say, you know, I'm just going to run in interpretive mode here. So I want to run a Python program that prints out a random number every second or something like that. So we need import random and time. Okay, so we're going to say while true. So this is going to run forever. And print random.randint 0, 1000. So we're going to print a random integer between 0 and 1000. And we're going to say time.sleep 1. So we want to do it every 1 second. Beautiful. So once I hit enter again, this is going to run forever. And not a Python class, but just showing you a forever program. Okay, so every second we get a new random number. Incredible. I need this program to run, and I need to do other things. If I were to close this, it would immediately die in a normal window, right? Because like if I closed my SSH window, program stop. But if I hit Control B and then D, it detaches. So I can now close this. I have a forever program. I will say this, Google will eventually kill a program that you have that's kind of possibly running forever if you're doing it in something like the Cloud Shell. Your virtual machine, it's perfectly fine. But again, Cloud Shell is a different environment, doesn't quite respond to the same rules as a VM does. But I had my Python program running in a tmux shell, right? So now if I do tmux ls, I see there is a active environment. Okay, so I can do tmux attach session dash t 0. And I still see my program running. The little like was because I couldn't remember if it was dash t or not. But here's my program. It's still running. I can hit Control B and then D to detach, and it's still running. Let's say I want to create another session. Sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade. Okay, I want to update my server. Control B, D. Okay, tmux ls. Now I have 2 sessions up and running. And if I were to close this window, they would still be running. Again, we are in the confines of a virtual machine environment. If we were to pop open the Cloud Shell, which if this only really applies to 680 at this point, honestly, but I could run tmux in here. But if I recall, there's like a time limit. I can't remember if it's 2 hours or a day or something like that. But I could run tmux in here if I wanted and have a similar effect. But just be aware the rules are different for Cloud Shell versus virtual machines. All right, so I have these 2 sessions here. Tmux attach session dash T1. So this 0, this 1, these correspond to the IDs here on the side. All right, so there's my updates. Now if I were to close it, and I do tmux ls again, I see there's only this 1 session. Oops. Memlock I would like on, thank you. So let's attach session 0. We see this is still running. Okay. This is good. I want this to run, but I still want to be able to see it and do other things. I can split my panes. So if I do Control B and then a quote, so I'm doing basically the double quote, I can split it horizontally here. So now this is running and I now have a shell down here. Okay, so I can say echo hello there. Incredible. A little bash scripting here. So it's a little vertical or horizontal split. Okay, maybe I want another one. So Control B. What am I spacing on this? Control B and T. Now I have a nice little time. It is not 3:30. It is 11. Oddly enough. 1 second. Sorry, I had a complete brain fart there for a moment. I couldn't remember how to vertically split. Control B %. Yeah, I use that one all the time too, and I just completely forgot. I don't know. Losing my mind in my old age. But now I've got a vertically split pane. I could do as many of these as I want. Okay, so now I have my cool hacker gem list. You know, let's go ahead and go up here. So Control B T. Hey, there's my time. Even better. So I've got all this cool stuff. I need like a little matrix thing here. Do I have Cause on here? Cause. No, let's add Cause. This is very important. Sudo apt install Cause. Okay, so we'll get that going. So I've got a program installing here, Python here, clock here, random terminals here. Delightful. Now, sudo Cause. Hello there, student. Cause? Really? Did I type that wrong? Cause. Hello? Okay, that was weird. Maybe it didn't like sudo. Okay. Other important program, gotta have Cause. Got our clock. Basically, nice thing about tmux is that everything is in a single pane. Or, again, I can just very quickly detach. Control B, D, detach. And that's still going to be running OS. Everything is still there, okay? And again, this is a virtual machine. I could close this and it would still be there when I fire it up again. Caveat though, if I were to shut down the virtual machine, think of the computer turning itself off, this will go away and it will not be there. Can't really stop that part. But as long as the VM is up and running, this will be there when you come back later on. One thing that I didn't talk about is I was kind of moving around these panes. You just do Control B and then the arrow keys to move in the direction you want to go. So Control B down, see me down here. Control B right, I'm now here. Control B right, I'm now on this clock. Control C to cancel that. Control B down, Control B left, and then you kind of navigate as you go. And if you want to close a pane, just kind of exit out of whatever you're doing there. And then I can cancel my Python program, and out we go. Control D quickly to cancel Python program. Okay, a lot of info in this video. Again, I will do my best to break it up. I will have some guides and some links and some kind of the commands that I've talked about in here as well. But hopefully this is useful, kind of as a very long-winded reference for you if you get stuck navigating, using Linux text editors, uploading, downloading the... Oh, I didn't talk downloading. Oh my God, I almost forgot. Download file. This is a particular thing for Google Cloud as well, and it's going to be mildly annoying for you if you don't understand what's going on. So let's exit out of tmux here. Okay, so I am in my home directory. Let's go back to var www.html. So I see this HTML, or this, let's download the hello.html file here. If you want to download something from your Google Cloud server, let's say that you worked on your homework and now you're ready to turn it in and I'm being mean and telling you to submit it through Blackboard. Okay, I need this file. How do I get it? Well, I click download file and it asks you for an absolute path. And what that means is it needs the fully formed path to your file. So if I am in the directory, so the path is /var/www/html/hello. Now, the nice thing about Google Cloud, this particular window, is that anything you select is going to be auto-copied. Okay, so if you don't want to type this out, just select it. Okay, so download file /var/www/html/hello.html. Okay, so you need the very specific file path. If you're coming from the Windows world, note that the slashes are the other direction. Okay, / instead of the backslash. Download, we see that apparently I lost my connection to the SSH server. This is never something that I've run into, by the way. First time I've kept getting these weird connection lost errors. But let's go ahead and reconnect, I guess. SSH. This is probably going to be the longest video I upload to my YouTube channel. I usually try to keep them 10 to 20 minutes if I can. Again, this is your reference, though, so it's not something you need to necessarily sit through unless if you're masochistic, I suppose. www.html. Okay, we're back in that directory. Download file. This is still in my clipboard. /hello.html. Download. And here we go. Now it goes onto my computer. Okay. Just the tricky thing is it's asking for the absolute specific path, the absolute path. Um, you can't just say hello because it's not going to know where you are. Not sure why they programmed it that way, but hey, it is what it is. Anyway, uploading, downloading, tmux, vim, nano, probably more. I mean, cowsay, that was absolutely important too. But hopefully that was helpful for you all. If there are other commands, techniques, tools you want me to cover, please drop a comment or email me or something, and I will be more than happy to come out with another video. Because again, I know that not all of these tools are familiar to you all. Anyway, have a great day. I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.